Let's just very quickly, I'd love to just to introduce ourselves to everybody. Efi, do you want to start off?
Yeah, of course. My name is Efi Polydora. I come originally from Greece, but the last 10 years I'm located in the beautiful Netherlands, and I'm working as head of PMO for the Dutch Lottery.
Perfect. And Jaime?
I'm Jaime Sierra. I'm in charge in Claro, Puerto Rico of the PMO and the planning IT area. Basically, I got about 20 years experience in the PMO and project implementation.
Okay, perfect. Maija?
Yeah, my name is Maija Kuisma, and I'm from Finland, so very north of Europe, and I'm heading the group project excellence within TietoEvry in an IT company.
Perfect. Lyudmil?
Yes, hi, my name is Lyudmil Stoilov. So I'm from Bulgaria, small and beautiful country. My role within Raiffeisenbank Bulgaria, a network unit of Raiffeisenbank International, it's head of PMO and Agile transformation lead.
Perfect. Okay. And Louise Worsley, I'm from South Africa. I'm a lecturer at the University of Cape Town here and have written various books on project management. So I have seen your presentations and I have to say I love them all. I was involved as a judge on the PMO stuff. So I'm gonna start with Lyudmil, and I would love to hear from you, Lyudmil, more about your view about the PMO's role in training and coaching, and what worked well and what lessons would you like to share with us on that?
Thank you, Louise, for this very nice and interesting topic. So I can say that this area could be big and with various of themes inside. But in my point of view, the most important and actually how it should start one PMO, it's with assessing of the PMO maturity of the organization. Of course, this is at any moment that the PMO is created or it's becoming as a centralized function. So we need to see at the starting where do we are as a PMO organization, as a maturity really within the organization. Just at the beginning, somewhere at the middle with some strengths, on some weaknesses, and what kind of knowledge and understanding have for the project management and the methodologies used within the organization. Also, I think at which level, what kind of knowledge and what understanding there is. We need to understand which are our main stakeholders and really their know-how about it, their importance and influence within the organization. So based on this assessment, I can say that we can do a good plan of spreading the knowledge, know-how, and engaging our clients, because those are our clients for the PMOs.
Yes. Tell me, did you get involved in coaching everybody? Were you coaching sponsors and everybody? How did that work?
So this was exactly why we made at the beginning an assessment in order to understand as a PMO maturity where we are. So of course we did not coach and train everyone within the organization, because for example our organization it's 2,700 people, so just not work to be done and not need to be done, because we need to understand for those kind of spreading a knowledge what exactly is our main goal, what we would like to achieve with this. And like that we made a short-term and long-term plan. What are exactly the specific needs and why what we need to achieve with every certain training. And we did it really for different kinds of people within the organization. And I can share with you, of course, what was at the beginning our target group. So first of all, it was in our point of view critical and key to understand, because the change for the organization from fully decentralized PMO to centralized project and portfolio management, where we put some standards, methodologies, rules, attention of board, put board as a sponsors of the project as mandatory thing in order things to run well. So this is why we identified that the first key thing was for the management, top and mid management, to be done. Let's say I even cannot say training, but knowledge session about for what about this centralized PMO, why it's needed on organizational level, and what are the benefits from it. And I can share what worked well and what does not work well. So what does not work well, it was that no matter that it was just starting the creation of professional team, meaning team with a lot of experience into the project and portfolio management, we explaining that to the management, it was a huge challenge. It was just not working. Because except the board, everyone was challenging this because this was really a big change for them, and it was everyone was impacted by this. So based on 1-2 session, and that we assess the result as a team together, and with big help with from board and from HR, we introduced training for the sponsors. For the in the banks there are board -1, board -2, board -3 hierarchical organization. So yes, for those stakeholders, and we collected within PMO a list of all key stakeholders from overall bank, and there was around 150 people. So a total 300 people with key role within the initiatives within the bank. It was done good training. We chosen very big names into project and portfolio management worldwide to come in Bulgaria in order to have really inspirational session. So
I wondered about that.
Well.
I wanted to ask, because with those senior people, often there is a problem with somebody like us doing it because they don't believe us. So you would clearly use people from outside to kind of bring credibility. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. And this was really the people that we selected was with such CV. When they presented to those people, the senior management, they was like, okay, we can trust to this guy, because it made a lot of things in a really huge organization that are even bigger than us.
Yes. I'm fascinated to hear that you chose the sponsors early on. In the work that some of my students have done on sponsors, they found that when they went and asked sponsors if they understood their role, the vast majority of sponsors don't know what their role is. Did you find that in what you were doing as well?
Yes, so the second key training after the start of this, because this training was passing around 4 months, because it was huge amount of people. After that, we made a special training, and it was just for the board, because we convinced them that they need to be the sponsor in order to have an impact and fast making decisions. So we made a very concrete and very iterative plus Q&A session for them. What is their role? What we need from them in order the bank or the organization to go further and to go good within the project management. So to what is their expectation, to align the expectations with us, and to be sure that we are on the same page. So I can say that this was very successful.
If you'd excuse me now, I'd just like to also invite some input. Maija, I know from having seen your PMO presentation, this was an area of importance to you. Do you have any comments on this at all?
Yes, and I when I was listening what Lyudmil has been doing in your PMO and organization, it really sounded excellent. So we did the same kind of approach. So this we did have a name, Results Management Office. So it was a PMO, Group Project Excellence, and that was also that it was the first time to have centralized unit. In TietoEvry, we have 24,000 employees and 1,500 project managers. So we also started from the top management and get the sponsorship from Kimmo Alkio, who is our CEO, and he launched this whole thing. We didn't go as detailed to the sponsored trainings, which I think sounds exciting, and I think we should do it even now. But we did, of course, had a quite important trainings for the project managers and project owners. So we trained them, and we have 5 modules, and we have been investigating that what are the key areas where we have challenges, and what are the key things that we need to improve. And based on this feedback from the project managers, from our customers, from the leadership team, then we designed that, okay, these are the 5 modules that we now launch to all the project managers as mandatory trainings. Also the project owners and delivery executive, they needed to take these trainings.
Okay, perfect. Now, and I think I take away from both of you the importance of planning this out. I mean, you both went out, didn't you? And do you know my cat is now now joining us now, so I'm just going to put him out of the way. So yeah, the importance of that planning process, so you know who it is you're going to address all the way through, seems so important, doesn't it? Okay, talking about planning, I'd like to also raise a different question with Jaime, because one of the things I found fascinating about your talk, Jaime, was you actually got an ERP out in such a big organization, in such a big telco. Tell us a little bit about the challenges in getting an ERP out in that environment.
Okay, basically to introduce, Claro Puerto Rico is owned by American Mobile. American Mobile has 300 millions of customers around America and Europe. Yeah, it's a huge organization. In 2013, American Mobile decided to standardize all the process for ERP. That means that the countries that didn't have the system that they wanted, that were about 20 countries, they started that project in order to have a centralized effort from headquarters to unify all systems and operations in an ERP. The objective was standardize all affiliates, look for synergy in different areas. Another thing that they were focused on transformation and standardization, homologation of process, and consider the most important thing, how we can work with the process, technology, and people, because if we are successful in that part, we are going to have a very good implementation and very good outcomes. The strategy was based in a central ERP. In our case, we had a lot of challenge. That was a central implementation. We were not the one that controlled the implementation. We were part of the implementation. It was divided by 6 regions. When they finish a region, they go to the other. If one region delay, the other region will be affected. It was a very complex implementation. We were the Caribbean region. We were together with Dominican Republic operation, and to have the same system based on a cloud, in a cloud base for both affiliates. The logistics to implement the system was difficult because we got the organization central, we got a core team, we got local teams, and we needed to work with that country, Dominican, together and establish a site to make the implementation. The site was selected the Dominican Republic affiliate because they have already the system. The strategy was very good because they already have the system. For them was an upgrade. For us was a total change of the ERP. Challenge stakeholders. We needed to work with the expectation from parent company and the expectation from our local people. And was very complex because that type of implementation came with one objective: standardize everybody. When you have people locally that are happy with the system, then you have to say that, to them, okay, you have to change your system because of this, of this, of this. We needed to have a strategy to convince people that this solution was best for them, was best for the company, and at the end will provide benefits and optimization in our area. We needed to put teams from a program office, headquarters. The implementation had 19 modules that required 19 leaders. We got about 6 PM working in the project from Central, from the other country, from us. And we needed to put a whole structure to run the project. Basically, the key challenge was to the people understand the magnitude of the change. The change was very big, will require that all company employees will be using the system, 19 modules, different areas affected. And what we decided is to have a good strategy for change management. We established a project parallel to the one that we were running, working with the change management and training. And in order to get the approval from everybody of the system, or in other words, the acceptance of that idea was very tough, was painful, because remember that this type of implementation is very big.
Can I ask you, Jaime, were there any stakeholder groups who were particularly difficult to persuade?
I think it was some specific, I cannot tell you exactly what areas, but were some people that were very happy with the system. We used another ERP before. They were happy. They didn't understand why we need to change. And remember, the other part is you got to work daily with your work, and also you have to work with the project. It was complex. But from the top management, we got all the support. From middle management as well. We needed to work on training and change management. I think was the challenge. The other part was the communication. We were in different countries, different time zones. And one requirement was to put a telepresence in one room. We got a work room for the project, and we were able to communicate daily. We get to the office at 9 o'clock, and we can see in the teleconference the other room in Mexico, the other room in the other country, and we worked together working on the project. It was a very successful approach.
Can I ask you another question? I mean, one of the things I find fascinating about ERPs is they kind of give you this standard way of doing things potentially. I was talking to one PMO last year, and she described her role as a silo breaker. That the PMO's job is to get people to be able to interact across boundaries within their organization. Did you feel the ERP helped with that? Allow people to get on better?
Yeah, silos is in every project. You have to break those silos. We were successful in doing. One good thing was that when we have to do the gap analysis, we had to move to the other country. We were 1 month there creating requirements. We took those key employees or those key personnel that were impacting very hard the system. People that sometimes have resistance, so some people that were very happy and willing to work. And we needed to put everybody in the same way, synchronizing with the objective of the company. I'm not going to tell you that was a paradise. It was hard, very, very, very hard. But at the end, we are seeing the result now. In this type of implementation, you don't see results immediately. You got to production, you have to have a period for adaptation, a period to correct problems. And believe me, for me was better than expected, considering the limitation of time. Regarding organization, we got all the support. We got a company contracted by headquarters in order to do the implementation. Were very effective. But believe me, it's changing the whole company. 19 modules is not an easy way.
Not an easy thing, no. Let me stop you there, Jaime. I'm going to just see that from other people. Efi, you work in government, yes?
Yes, that's true. I work for that lottery.
Now, they're one of the harder ones to get people to work across silos. Do you have experience of using something like an ERP to kind of help with that process at all? Or any comments on that?
Yeah, actually, I was just about to pose a question to Jaime, but I will first answer your question and then I will pose my question. Obviously, those kind of systems really help breaking the silos. Of course, I always say first thing is communicate with people in person. But also having a system that supports people is always obviously important. What we did is we introduced a project management tool. So in that sense, it belongs to an ERP solution because we wanted to create a central focal point of truth for everything around PMO. So I can fully recognize what Jaime said and all the advantages that this delivered. So from putting all documentation in place towards capacity planning on projects, for example, new initiatives that start, the status of those, also highlight reports from different programs and projects. But also more fun things like, for example, we created a knowledge database, a knowledge bank, we called it, and there we split it in various areas like agile, waterfall, so not only methodologies, but also analysis. So different areas that touch upon project management and PMO. And we were uploading their webinars. We were uploading interesting articles and suggestions on books. So people could go there and really find a nice knowledge point as reference.
Okay, perfect. Look, I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to put your question on hold just for 1 sec, because I'm conscious of our time that America is looking at me, I can tell. So I'm going to, what I'd like to do is perhaps now turn to Maija. And one of the things that I found fascinating in your presentation is you did a lot on, I suppose, what you might call key performance areas and key performance indicators. And it seemed to be that's how you were making the link between your projects and the strategy. And that's, you don't always see that. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, really, and I need to say that I have also heard that it's not so common, and but it's very important. You know, when we started the putting all these one group project excellence together, one common way of working, we discussed with the key stakeholders, top management, and then different line managers and project managers, and we wanted to make sure that our KPIs, what we measure, are linked to the business requirements and also to the business targets. So we defined KPIs based on what was the strategy direction, strategic KPIs, and we started to follow them. At the same time, of course, we did have KPIs that are related to the actions and activities that we are working on. So with these activities, our target was then to show our business that, okay, with these activities, we can then improve these things. And of course, we did do a huge steps change in certain areas. So I think it's a really, really good, it takes time because you need to understand how do you measure those things. So what are the key things that your business wants to see and understand. At the same time, also listening to the customers. So how does your customers, what is the thing they feel is important and is the direction from there? But now we're still following the KPIs. We define them every year, and it's so important. Then you can show. We even calculated the business case when we started with the KPIs. The activities we're doing, we said that okay, these KPIs are then influencing this amount of less costs and more revenue to the business and to our company. So it's really important. It takes time and you need to understand and then start following. And then sometimes you need to also rethink, change a little bit, do in a different way. But it's really worth doing because then you really can see the improvement and the step change that we are doing. And everybody then also understand the importance of the project management office or project excellence. That is how to show. And yeah, I think that is how we did it. And I really feel that it's a very important area to have the really concrete KPIs, which are linked to the strategy and to the business.
Did you have to train people? Because people generally aren't very good at doing KPIs, are they? Did you have to train people to help them to come up with appropriate KPIs?
Yeah, it is, and we group different stakeholders, and we started from the management, and we asked, would these be the KPIs that would be like things we want to follow up, and then we needed to go down to the project level, to our project managers, because if you want to follow up, you need to get the data from the project deliveries. So our project managers needed to start putting these key things into the tools, and everybody in the same way, in the same date, so that we keep the KPIs up to our leadership team.
Yeah.
And
how do you make them visible? I mean, do you have like a dashboard, or how do you?
Dashboard? Yeah, we reported. So we were reporting those KPIs to Tieto board, our board members, and then we reported it to the leadership team. So that is how we get the visibility. And of course, then we have the dashboard. We even, created a little competition, because we have different service lines. We put like all service lines, all countries, and then red, yellow, green, yellow. It's so powerful when you put this, you go to a meeting and I said, here we are, you are totally red, you are green. And then people don't want to come to the meeting like when they are, all their things that they are working, or the KPIs are like a red. So it's very powerful to have these slides there and put the service lines and units.
Do you think by doing that, it's also made people better at, because when you get KPIs, people have to be clear about their strategy and about the client journeys. They have to understand them better. Do you think it's helped with that too?
So we did have, definitely. And we did have training, because that is, we needed to, of course, the project managers needs to understand from their end up to the management, what is the mean of this KPI and how do we use it, and what does it like bring? That is how we really needed to start from the bottom to the up and train and explain, even say how these are calculated, what are the things that are influencing. So what is the KPI calculation, for example? It's really important. You need to inform everybody, because they need to understand how it influences.
Absolutely. Lyudmil, I'm turning to you now, because I remember you talking quite a lot about portfolio management in your presentation, and kind of for me, in my mind, portfolio management and KPIs go together a little bit. Did you use KPIs at all in terms of tracking your portfolios?
I'm very happy to share that and to see that what Maija shared as what they did and what they are seeing as a result. It's I can confirm it's absolutely the same in our organization. So yes, we are using KPIs. There are different kind of KPIs. First of all, when we introduce the portfolio management and we introduce a project portfolio steering committee, where exactly to show such kind of results, we agreed with the board and with the bank strategy or organization strategy what's important within the to be improved in project delivery. So we introduced the project delivery KPIs, and exactly the same way as Maija shared, the white principle to be shown in every project or every setup where we have red, yellow, or green. So this really is giving an effect. The second thing that we after some maturity saw that it's very important is not only that this is on a strategic and portfolio level, is that on top of the business case, which it's very clear, but especially in financial institution, I think it's very clear that everyone and the board is requesting business case. On top of it, it should have KPIs and a very clear link which we made, and we are still making, of course, because there is always room for improvement, between the strategy and the top strategic goals and strategic KPIs, how the setups or agile squads in our case, and how the projects are really helping with financial and non-financial benefits to do strategic KPIs.
Yes.
So I think it's very powerful tool, and of course, as Maija mentioned, it was the case that there is misalignment, there is misunderstandings,
Yes.
there is KPIs that only the team think it's very important, but at the end it's becoming that it's not with such a strategic importance for the organization. And we requested in collaboration, and we did, and we are doing trainings about the strategy. So project managers, in our case, must know the strategy by heart.
Yes, I'm sure. Yes. I mean, I work with a few financial institutions here, and it's interested me that we're seeing more training on Six Sigma. I don't know if any of you have been using that at all, but particularly when you're going down the KPI route, often you need people who can understand measurement practices, don't you? So you get a different kind of training regime. Efi, I'm going to ask you in a second, but I would love to know, because you're in government, and sometimes the problems in government with portfolios and KPIs is that your KPIs are more social than financial. Do you use them at all?
Let me unmute myself. Yes, actually, we have split a bit our KPIs in different areas. So indeed, because we are mainly doing a good cause things, we have soft KPIs. So we need to contribute to specific organizations and help specific organizations with certain percentages of our income. So we have soft KPIs. We also have the more hard-oriented KPIs on budget, time, and scope. And we also have a group called People KPIs. So we are looking towards team and development. And we have multiple swim lanes, as we call them there, from starter to practitioner to performer. So we have grouped them in those areas.
Yes, and I can believe I work with government here. We've got some tricky projects in South Africa, like redevelopment of our settlement areas and things, and there we use a similar thing, and we use something called grassroots indicators, which are like you described there, and they're the grassroots indicators of genuine change occurring within a community, for example, and they're just different ways. They're still KPIs, but they're different in many ways. Yeah. Efi, I'm going to ask you to particularly, I looked at your presentation, and one thing that hit me, and you started to talk about it earlier, is how important the PMO framework is and the methodologies that you use. So, and it's not always easy getting those out in the community. So what were the big successes for you, and what lessons would you like to share on that?
Yeah, actually for us, as always, we talk about the PMO framework. We need to start with a PMO framework. And for us was rather important because we were a startup PMO. So our assignment was from having nothing to set up a PMO. So first of all, we wanted to address the purpose. So which problem do we want to address and to solve with introducing this PMO? So that's why we had this framework. And we also wanted to achieve consensus and clarity. So to make sure that we speak the same language within the organization. And one of our lessons learned was keep things easy, especially with complex terminology, because sometimes the tricky for us who are working in projects and programs and portfolios quite some years is we assume that people understand our terminology and our world. So we start bombarding them with all those kind of words and terms that at the end of the day they cannot really comprehend. So what we did, we said keep it simple. We introduced a sort of wiki where we explained from the very simple things: what is a project, what is a program, what is a portfolio, what is the difference. We also did a roadshow within our organization, so a very simple presentation. We called it project management for non-project managers. And this is how we tried to spread the rumor of PMO within our organization. So one of the lessons learned was complex terminology. One other thing was to keep the balance between PMO seen as a bureaucratical center where all those kind of templates and documentation and gathering of requirements comes together with what really matters. So eliminating waste, do projects in a lean and mean, an approachable way. So that was one of the other challenges, and at the same time lessons learned for us.
Yeah. How did you, we all have this problem. You know, as soon as you show any project manager something that remotely looks like a template, they start to fill it in. How do you get around that problem?
Yeah, actually, what we did is we started gathering feedback from our stakeholders. So by the time we were introducing something, we were not just asking fill it in. We were asking also for feedback. How do you find it? Do you miss information? And what we also did was not introducing from scratch very exotic things. We, for example, when we were initiating a project in the initiation phase, we have looked in the market. Okay, let's use a sort of a business canvas model that it's known to our business and translate it to a PMO template, so they can also feel a bit familiar with the content, instead of introducing something that they see for the first time and they will be, oh, now and KPIs and what I need to fill in there. So we try to find a balance between the known to them, to the business, and the project management world.
Okay, that makes lots of sense. And you mentioned that term about project management for non-project managers. I don't know how many of you are PMI followers, but I get involved with PMI document development. And the new body of knowledge is really big on the fact that project management isn't only done by project managers. And I'm certainly seeing here in South Africa and many companies now a real big emphasis on helping people know about projects who aren't necessarily project managers. I am going to ask you all now, are you finding that too, that there is this need to get everybody to understand projects?
Yeah, for us, because I mentioned that was very important, because now our organization evolves to a new agile way of working, and we want more T-shaped people. So people that undertake this role as a Scrum Master or Product Owner or Project Manager or Agile Manager, they don't necessarily have all those certifications. So it is rather important that you keep it simple and keep it approachable. This is my intake.
Perfect. Okay. And I think that's the way we're going to see with PMI. I mean, it almost seems they've got rid of the title of project manager and said there's a thing called project management and we all contribute to it. Jaime, I know you did a lot of work on methods as well. Do your experiences, are they similar to Efi's?
Yeah, very similar. When we started the office, we start with a very bureaucratic process, 30-something forms, and then we started to simplify the process. We just have 5 forms that are required for control, for auditing. When we reduce everything, one thing that we do different was we put a PPM system, a portfolio management system, where we mechanize or automate all forms, everything. And what we did is simple work for the PM, just fill in blanks. This is your chapter. Basic, this is your scope. This is your stakeholders that are already in the system. You just have to select or add a new one. And we implemented that PPM. And that PPM gave us we can monitor. We got basically all reports, metrics, KPIs, and reports. And instead of the project manager to sit down to make a presentation, they can take it from the system. The only rule is you have to have the system of data, because if you don't have the system of data, that will be garbage. The thing is, everybody is using the system. Whenever the system is down, it's a chaos because they cannot work. And we got to change the mindset to everybody, because at the beginning was a lot of resistance to use the system. But right now, if I got a turnover, I don't have a PM resign or move to another area. It's just to connect and see the status. We are very strict on that process. In addition, for metrics, the system can provide metrics of the health of the project. I can see just in one page, one screen, I can see if a project is running okay or it's not running okay, because you're going to see the VH alarms that the system is generating. For us, was a very big achievement to implement that PPA and combine with the documentation, with all the PMI requirements, and the system basically right now we are dependent on that system.
Guys, fantastic. I'm conscious now. I think we're coming towards the end of our 40 minutes or so, but I thought we might try finishing on a controversial statement I saw come up in one of the WOA, I don't know if you've been on it yet, the app that we can use for the conference, being made in one of the communities there, where somebody said, we don't need project managers anymore. I'm hoping we need PMOs. I'm sure we will, but I'd just like to do a round robin of what do you think the future is for project managers, given kind of things you've been talking about, Efi, in terms of Agile coming on all these different roles. Are we going to see project managers in the future? Maija, would you like to start me off? Project managers in the future.
Yes, definitely we need project managers, and even we are working in an agile way. Still, we need to manage the project and have the key things and get the team working, get the target clearly set up. So definitely we need project managers. That's my opinion. But the work will be changing, as said. So there is agile project deliveries. You will have Scrum Masters. You will have team working in sprints, increments. All these things will coming. So project manager role will be different. And they will be more like they need to understand all this digitalization and as we have been talking, templates in the tools and all these things. So yes, but in a different way.
In a different way. Vote for yes. Lyudmil, what do you think?
I can speak a lot about this theme because even in our but not it. So it's a very challenging question. It's a very up-to-date question and with different opinions. But for example, definitely the project management skills and all the knowledge, it's fully necessary within especially the big organization, because for a small startups maybe not necessary to go in and to put some, even as Efi said, bureaucracy, because this is how it seems sometimes the work. Even for example in our organization, the Scrum Masters with their skill set, we found that, of course, not all the time this is the case. They are very appropriate even for the Scrum Master way of work. They really support and they really matter for the agile teams with their skill set.
Okay. Efi, you've already mentioned you clearly have an agile environment. What do you think?
Yeah, so what I always say is that the skills that project managers have and the hard and soft skills are much requested. So no matter if they are called project managers in a waterfall environment or somehow else in another environment, I have seen previous project managers signing in the new evolved situation, digital transformations, trust me, my experience is that all people that have achieved in new roles like Agile coaching or Scrum Masters, as Lyudmil also said, they have project management background. So in that sense, project managers can evolve. I fully agree with Maija in a different environment. And I still feel that there will always be projects that we would need the traditional project management. It's not all projects that can go agile or fully agile. I think we know that, and everybody agrees on that.
Okay, brilliant. Jaime, would you like to finish us off on this one?
Yeah, there's projects that can be run. What we are doing in Claro, Puerto Rico is that we have an academy and we include the business. We selected the better people or people that work for us, those champions that work with us on day-to-day projects. We train them. They are able now to run their project, but they have a methodology. Theoretically, they are not project managers, but they are using the methodology. We are trying that they help us to reduce the number of projects, the one that they can do. Some of them are doing some pilot, and it's very interesting. They are happy. The other part is you always need the soft skills. You don't always need the knowledge. I don't think that we can eliminate the project manager. However, about 2 years ago, I read in Gartner an article that said that in 2030, the project manager is going to disappear, and artificial intelligence is going to substitute the PM. That could be maybe that we are going to have more tools to reduce the work of the PM, like activities. Is I'm going to a construction project, probably a system can tell me what are the activities that I have to have here, and maybe it can reduce my work. But I don't think that we can disappear the human aspect.
Brilliant. Okay. Let me summarize back what I heard. And I think there's a general yes. I think there's a general, but the skills might have to change. And I hear an emphasis on the soft skills there. I also hear that there are other things coming in, like project managers for non-project management. And as Jaime was saying at the end there, we are getting other people to run projects because there's so many of them. So fantastic. And we will finish here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, perfect.
Really a pleasure.
Thank you.
Perfect.